Can you introduce yourself and tell us your role at Black Mountain?
Sure. My name is Rama Polefka. I'm the CEO and founder of Black Mountain Dynamics. We are a security-centric MSP based in the Bay Area with clients throughout the US.
Great. And can you talk a little bit about Black Mountain Dynamics as a company and maybe how it differs from what you might think of as a traditional MSP?
Sure. Black Mountain started in 2015. We deal exclusively with high-tech startups, strategic small businesses, and any other companies that really value and appreciate a security-first approach for the company. So that's really where we come from.
Great. And do you all use JumpCloud internally or do you mostly deploy it for your clients?
We certainly use it internally. We find it's a very great tool for our own personal use and how we deploy things, and use it as really a foundational piece for the clients that we work with and that we manage. Endpoint management is obviously a very important piece for a well-managed network. And there's certainly options and tools out there that you can use for endpoint management, but JumpCloud is really our preferred solution for a number of reasons.
That's great. And could you talk specifically about how JumpCloud integrates with other technologies and helps you deliver solutions to your clients?
Sure. Again, endpoint and management is just a single piece in a well-managed network. It starts there. And again, in the endpoint management, device tracking, a single sign-on, permissions, software installations, onboarding, offboarding. There's a number of aspects JumpCloud enables or facilitates. And I wouldn't say it's an extreme requirement or an explicit requirement, but we almost never work with a client unless they have JumpCloud, or obviously there's some other options out there for endpoint management, but certainly JumpCloud is our favorite tool.
Do you find you're deploying to customers that have single OS environments or a mixture? Are you seeing a lot of Mac only or a mixture of Mac, Windows, and Linux, or what are you mostly serving out there?
We actually have all of the above. We have some that are almost exclusively Mac, some that are exclusively PC, and we have some that are all three. We have some software developers that also have Linux endpoints and that we're managing. It becomes a fantastic tool when you have a tool that can manage all of those. So it's really a one size fits all tool that we take advantage of.
Are you finding that you're using policies and commands a lot since you're doing a lot of the endpoint management, or what are you relying on most for those?
Yeah, we certainly do some policies and conditional policies. I don't personally do a lot of the really explicit management. I've got some very knowledgeable guys that do a lot of that. But what I've always found is, and experienced since the beginning, many years back, JumpCloud always seems to be adding additional features and functionality, improving existing features. We we love it and we take advantage of everything that you guys throw at us.
So that leads to one of my next questions. Are you doing a lot of full suite deployments, jump cloud deployments, or are you finding with these very security conscious companies, are you doing more of like MDM specifically
Mhm.
or relying on some of the insights tools to make sure that you're able to monitor different things about their systems? Are they up to date on patching and are they in compliance with whatever things they need to be in compliance with?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, we're using full suite. There's a few cases where we're using just some of the MDM capability and maybe not necessarily SSO. But generally, it's the full suite. And as an MSP, we have pricing for the full suite. We can't really, the pricing model for us as we deliver to our customers doesn't really allow us to carve off just a piece. It makes sense when we offer and price to say, listen, you have access to all of this stuff, and to really try and take advantage of all the different components and tools that are built into the suite.
Mhm. Are you finding that customers are more interested in having you come in and set everything up and show them how to do it, or just saying, here, just manage everything for me?
We are often handling everything. So they take our recommendation. For instance, when we're dealing with a startup and the push may be not that they've just internally decided that, hey, they want to be more secure and have a more managed network. It may be an external requirement such as a funding requirement or a enterprise deal requirement that we start to become, for instance, SOC 2 certified or ISO 27001 certified. And so there's all these requirements and they go, we don't know how to do it. And so that's actually been a kind of a recent lever for us to be able to go in and say, we'd love for you to be a well-managed network, but this is an even more important reason because the deal won't close or whatever the case may be unless you're SOC 2 or whatever. And so that gets us on the path, pushing that and getting that deployed.
Do you ever find that you're also having to do this for them to qualify for insurance, like for cyber risk insurance or other
Absolutely.
things? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a client in the East Bay and they were on the receiving end of a ransomware attack, and it was an extremely difficult and challenging time for them. The process and through the mitigation and after the mitigation, there is a substantial amount of cleanup that needs to be done and management and improvement in processes, security questionnaires, validation, and everything. We are in the midst of a big rollout with JumpCloud throughout their fleet. They have 3 locations, 2 in Northern California, 1 in Southern California, and along with security awareness training. It's one thing to have the computers and the network well managed, but people also need to be aware. So security awareness training is a big thing that we are also implementing. But certainly anytime that insurance, cybersecurity, or when the policies are due and they need to do the due diligence questionnaires, that comes up, and that can be a driving factor as well.
Yeah. Do you find using system or directory insights helps with that, like looking at the state of things so that you can fill out those assessments, or just keep in knowing where things are so that you can say, oh, we've got some systems that haven't been updated in a while and we need to keep the risk low. So we need to make sure that those are up to date and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The reporting tools are fantastic, and it does allow us to focus on the problem rather than finding problems and trying to identify the things that we need to do. It's leveraging technology rather than manpower. And that's the thing that makes it so powerful and compelling. And our customers ultimately are the recipients of that. It's a great tool to empower the business to get the maximum value out of their IT spend.
Mhm. So that one example you gave of having to come in like after an attack and all the mitigation and stuff, do you have any other kind of typical clients or typical problems that you're asked to come in and solve?
I would say for us, a typical scenario, again, we deal with a lot of very early stage customers. And oftentimes it starts very small. And for instance, there may be the technical co-founder or lead or somebody who draws the short straw for being the IT manager. And they do it, and a few laptops are ordered, and maybe email is set up and some things. And then suddenly they realize that they're just spending way too much time on all of this and they need help. Or something happens. There's an incident where there may be an employee incident. Perhaps the laptop was stolen, misplaced. Perhaps there was a less than ideal parting of ways with an employee, and they realize that there's no control, there's no process for offboarding and all of the password management and information and everything else. And that becomes an aha moment for them. And so we find that as often there's this break point when startups go from just a couple of people to 15, 20 people, and whoever was the IT guy in the beginning, the co-founder, just simply doesn't have enough time to deal with it. And they really need professionals to come in with the right tools to come in and start managing the networks in the proper way.
Yeah. So that sounds like that's your sweet spot, right? It's like that growth where it's like we don't have enough time, we don't have the expertise on staff, so
Sure.
we need help.
Yeah.
Are you finding that more of your clients are on-prem or hybrid or remote or just a little bit of all of them?
For us, it's mostly hybrid. We have a few 100% remote companies,
Mhm.
and then we have some that are on-prem, but off the top of my head, I can't imagine any of our clients are explicitly on-prem. Everyone has remote access and needs of some sort
Mhm.
these days. At least for us, again, having that additional endpoint management is really key and important.
Yeah. How did you initially come to find JumpCloud and decide that you were going to use it and also deploy it to clients?
Yeah, let's see. It's been quite some time. Early on, you guys had a free trial for sort of identity, and nice and interesting little thing back then. And this is years, I don't know, it's 5, 6 plus years. I don't quite even remember. And we said, oh, that's cool and that's interesting. It's not really what we need right now. And then you guys just kept adding. SSO was added and different MDM and different clients. And so at some point it was just like, holy smokes, this is really an amazing tool because everything that we need. It's doing SSO. We don't need to try to use OCTA for the SSO because it's identity and it's SSO, but it's also MDM and it's also Linux. And that was really, it was early on, we saw it, and we kept an eye on it, and a feature was added and a feature was added, and we'd blink and turn around and another cool thing was added, and finally it was just like, this is it, this is really the tool that we need. Say that's what's always impressed me about JumpCloud is really, in my opinion, an engineering centric, product centric company first, right? It's really about improving the tool. And I've seen that from the beginning and ongoing. I hope it stays that way because it really is a great tool.
Hmm, great. Well, thank you. Have you had any clients that you have moved off of AD or Okta or Jamf onto JumpCloud?
Yes, all of the above.
Do you have any in particular that stand out?
I'm not sure stand out in what regard, but uh,
Memorable?
yeah, all of our clients are memorable to us. We're working through a client that is all on-prem AD right now, with some very old IT infrastructure, old computers and everything else, and chaotically and statically mapped drives. It's an ongoing process to get them off of AD, to get them off of these old, out of support. The Windows servers themselves are out of support and old and not up to date. The hardware is not up to date. And with this migration, we're going to be able to just remove a lot of legacy infrastructure, software, hardware, licensing, and really get to on demand and really nimble. And it's bumpy for sure, but we're getting through. And this is going to be a good one for us to get these guys transitioned into kind of modern times and modern IT.
I've heard way too many horror stories of people having critical infrastructure on really old server
Mhm.
software and not redundant or anything.
Yeah.
And I can imagine. And it's just because they have an some old piece of software running that can't be upgraded. So they keep everything else running off of that. Love to hear when that gets done and how you all feel about that when it's
Yeah,
all complete.
for
Because I bet
sure.
that'll be,
Yep.
it's done.
Yeah, and we've engaged with JumpCloud's professional service to help us with some of the more advanced intricacies with some of the discovery and illumination of accounts and things like that. And they've been very helpful too. So it's been great. It's been a interesting process ongoing, and we're definitely looking forward to getting them off of all this old
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. When you do get people updated, do you wind up then using things like patch management and stuff like that to keep them up to date?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It opens up a lot of things, a lot of capabilities that we're able to do once we get them
Mhm.
onboarded.
Do you find that any of your clients are reluctant to adopt new things, or do you find that a lot of them are just like, yeah, we want to be as current as possible because then it's just easier to manage things. I hear some of both sometimes.
Hmm.
We've got people that are stuck in their ways and they're not ready to adopt
Yep.
new stuff. And then you've got others that are just like, yeah, I want everything to be secure. So I want to be as up to date as possible.
Yeah. We're lucky in the regards that we've been pretty much 100% referral since we started in 2015. And the types of clients that come to us really are about performance and security first and foremost. Come fairly well regarded with in high regard, and they trust our decision. So we don't really generally get pushback. Sometimes pricing is a little bit of a concern, or exploring alternatives or 100% Mac. There's some other sort of MDM options, but for the most part, it's pretty smooth sailing for us when we recommend JumpCloud and deploy it.
How does it work when new features are released? Are they pretty open to new feature adoption too?
Again, for the most part, we are the de facto. We, Black Mountain, use it internally. And so we try to use it and understand it and make sure we're comfortable with it. And when the feature is out and it's helpful, we roll it out. We go for it when it makes sense for the client.
Mhm. That's good. That's really good. I've been asking people if they've been using any of the newer things that we've come out with, dynamic groups and JumpCloud Go, to see if, there's been any adoption in those because those are still relatively new.
Yeah, dynamic groups. I have one guy in particular that's always banging on the new stuff, and I don't have a great answer for you on that, whether or not we're doing that. He did zip me through it a little bit, but not yet. What I would say is, for the most part, we do have smaller companies, smaller endpoint count, generally speaking. We're not necessarily needing to slice and dice up groups and
Mhm.
stuff too much, but I'll take another look at that and maybe we can give you a better answer next time.
Okay. How many people do you have at your company?
We have currently 5 full-time employees and a few contractors that we work with.
And what's the average size of the clients you work with?
Again, our sweet spot is, I would say, 0 to 100 from really initial startup. But usually, in terms of Jump Cloud and some of our more hands-on IT, it's 5 to 100 users is our sweet spot. Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to discuss?
No, I am appreciative of the support that we get from the engineering support and our sales guy our account guy that we work with, and even some of these conversations that we've had with some of I don't know if you call it the sales or the marketing team or whatever, but it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I like the product and the people are great too. Yeah, just want to give you guys a kind of a acknowledgement for the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Sure.
And I'm really enjoying getting to know more of our partners.